I've been wanting to play the Elden Ring DLC ever since it was released back in June of 2024, and recently that opportunity finally arrived. Somehow, I'd also managed to avoid most major spoilers for the DLC, and was therefore going to go into it almost blind. Now, I decided that I was going to go into the DLC with a brand new character, as I hadn't actually played any Elden Ring at all for over a year, and so I was completely out of practice. I also wanted to make sure that once I'd entered the DLC, I didn't have to mess about with things like finding upgrade materials for any cool DLC weapons I found. And so came the planning phase to enter the DLC. To make the DLC accessible, there were two things that I definitely had to do: beat Radahn and beat Mohg. On top of this, I also wanted to acquire all 9 smithing stone bell bearings, gather enough golden seeds to have around 9 or 10 flasks, and upgrade those flasks to plus 12 for maximum healing effect. And so, I split my DLC preparation plan into 2 phases, the Radahn phase and the Mohg phase. First, let's cover the Radahn phase, as it's the shorter of the two and has fewer obstacles to overcome than the Mohg phase. Operation Radahn would consist of the following things: acquiring enough runes to be able to beat Radahn, gathering enough golden seeds for 9 flasks, gathering enough sacred tears to upgrade the flasks to plus 6, finding a weapon I wanted to use for the run, getting enough smithing stones to be able to upgrade said weapon to around plus 12, beating Radahn. So join me as I guide you, dear viewer, through my journey to prepare to take on the Elden Ring DLC. So, my journey began with creating a new character. I'm gonna go to Samurai, because it's the sort of best base class. Let's go for some runes so that we can level up faster. I wanted to play a strength build, so I chose an appropriate looking character to play as. So, we're playing as Knuckles the Echidna from the Sonic series. This guy though, I hate fighting these guys. There's one later on in the game as well that I never learned how to fight them. Ow. Next, we died to the Grafted Scion and headed towards the first step. Here he is, the maidenless guy.
Oh yes, tarnished.
Vare.
Come, of course you have. No shame in it. Unfortunately for you, however, you are maidenless.
It was here that we met Vare, and both Chat and I took offense to him calling us maidenless, so we decided to teach him a lesson. There we go, got him. Also, I had no need to use him to get to Mohg quickly, as our Mohg phase required us to go to the consecrated snowfield anyway. I then decided to test my very rusty skills against the first boss of the game, Tree Sentinel. And surprisingly, managed to beat him on the first try. I then made a brief stop to buy pots and a crafting kit from Kale, before heading to Gatefront to meet our maiden. Time to get our maiden, so that we are no longer maidenless.
Greetings, traveler from beyond the fog. I am Melina.
After becoming maidened and getting our boy Torrent, I picked up the Whetstone Knife and the Limgrave West map. From here, I headed back to the first step to get an important rune maxing item, the Golden Pickled Foulfoot. Because you can eat them and boost the amount of souls that you get from killing an enemy, so you can level up quicker. And we're gonna do some hacky strats to defeat the Grail, the big dragon on the bridge. It was then time to head towards the Third Church of Marika to grab a Wondrous Physic Flask. On the way, I'd pick up a second Golden Foulfoot from close to the crossroads, along with a Somber Smithing Stone 1. I fucking ran right past it. I am so dumb. Hello, Mr. Kenneth. Have a quick chat with Kenneth Height, and pick up the recipe for sleep pots. There we go, there's our Wondrous Physic. Very nice. After grabbing the Wondrous Physic, I headed towards Dragonbarrow via the portal to Garank, and realized that I had forgotten to start the timer I set up to see how long all this would take me. There we go. Oops. That was meant to be for the playthrough of the game. See how long it takes. But, you know, I can add 33 minutes or something to it. 30 minutes to it. Dragonbarrow was where the majority of our leveling was going to be done, by cheesing 2 high-level bosses, Flying Dragon Grail and the Knight's Cavalry here. Okay, we're getting these 2 graces so that I can hopefully, if everything goes well, only use 1 gold pickled Foulfoot for both of these bosses we're about to cheese. Although I hate the Knight's Cavalry cheese because it never works for me. First try, it always takes like ages for me to make it work. I think this is my favorite cheese though. Hello, Mr. Grail. Aggro to me, please. To get this cheese to work, you have to make sure Grail is aggroed onto you. Then, run and hide behind the big tree at the end of the bridge, near the Grace. Make sure to re-aggro Grail towards you if it de-aggroes. Then, wait for it to do the move where it flies backwards into the air, then forward, breathing fire down towards you. Make sure to start running onto the bridge when it begins this move, and with any luck, it will land on top of the tree. If it doesn't, reset at a site of grace and try again. If it does land on the tree, start moving towards the other side of the bridge, and the dragon should try to follow you, falling off of the tree in the process and getting stuck in a falling animation, which will eventually cause it to lose all its health. As the health bar disappears, pop the golden pickled Foulfoot to increase the runes you get. Can't do anything. There he goes. We beat him. He's dead. We pop a gold pickled Foulfoot. And there we go. 100,000 runes. So let's get, I think it was 12 faith, right? Let's go to like 20 vigor, 20 endurance, and then let's bump up strength. So, after leveling up with the runes from Grail, I attempted the Knight's Cavalry cheese, which went... well, it went like this. Ow. 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 Okay, yep, there we go. Can I get farther than that? I don't think so. No. Okay. Okay, back and forth. Ow. Why did he jump there? What the fuck? Eventually, I managed to successfully convince Knight's Cavalry to jump off a cliff. There we go! Holy shit! And made a decent profit of 42,000 runes. I then went and beat up Anastasia and picked up the Holy Pot recipe. Now we can create holy pots if necessary. Then headed back to Dragonbarrow to collect Somber Smithing Stones 8 and 9. Before complaining about how difficult Somber Stone 7 is to get whilst on the way to Fort Farah. Yeah, I don't think you can get there through the Abductor, because I'm going to through the Abductor to get, I think it's 5 and 6. You can get them pretty quickly. But 7 is a fucking bitch. I hate trying to get 7. At Fort Farah, I grabbed one half of the Dectus Medallion and Radagon's Sword Seal. It was then time to head to Mistwood to pick up the Spiked Crack Tier and the Axe Talisman, both of which enhance charged attacks. It was then time for me to go to Fort Height, where I stole this guy's seed, which he wasn't happy about. Give me your seed. Ow. I then picked up the Blood Grease recipe. Okay, got the Blood Grease recipe. Killed a guy with a Bloody Slash Ashen War, and collected the Dectus Medallion half. The time had then come to head to the treasure trove of sacred tier locations. Weeping Peninsula, where Miyazaki had decided to place 3 sacred tiers, all in close proximity to each other. What a thoughtful man. Whilst here, I also grabbed the golden seed before heading to the 3 churches. There's one, another sacred tier. Just like that, we have much more potent flasks. I then headed back to Gatefront to make our last stop in Limgrave before moving on to Liurnia, which was the golden seed by Stormhill Shack. Who can claim this game has a fucking bad sound design when you have banger like voice lines in the opening, like the loathsome Dung Eater. And so, by skirting around the edge of Stormvale Castle, I'd made it to Liurnia of the Lakes. I popped by the Church of Irith to grab another sacred tier. Let me through. Before heading to pick up the East Liurnia map, and then taking the portal close by to the Carian Academy entrance. Before I could enter, I had to jump down off a bridge and steal the entrance key from an angry magic dragon. Once inside, I grabbed a Somber Smithing Stone 3, rode up an elevator, then down the other side, gonna jump on here, and got kidnapped by an angry metal cage. Once inside Volcano Manor, I would have to drop down a cliff. Will we survive? And run across some rooftops to get a Somber Smithing Stone 6. Somber Smithing Stone 6. I want to ride the elevator. Then take another elevator up to get a Somber Smithing Stone 5. There we go. Before ending our existence by jumping off an even bigger cliff. Time had then come to leave this accursed place. So I ran through a backfilled tunnel. We just get chased for eternity by bats. Drop down from some precarious ledges. We roll. We roll. We roll. And made it to a site of grace. Okay. And now, I believe, we can finally teleport out. It was now time to begin our quest for Smithing Stone bell bearings. So it was time to... Then we're going to the mines. First up on the bell bearing list was the Smithing Stone bell bearing 1, which could be found close by where we currently were, the Raya Lucaria Crystal Tunnel. After quickly and easily dispatching the Crystallion that was the boss of these tunnels, I was rewarded with the first of the 9 bell bearings I needed. Okay. From here, I headed towards the Grand Lift of Dectus, stopping off at the Bellum Church on the way to pick up another sacred tier. Okay. Pick up the sacred tier. That's one damn big lift. Once on Altus Plateau, I travelled across the map all the way to the Road of Iniquity side path, Site of Grace, in order to pick up the weapon that I would be using for the rest of the preparation run and a large portion of the DLC. Now, Great Stars. There it is. After acquiring my chosen weapon, because I like spiky sticks that deal bleeding damage, I headed through the Lanedale Outer Wall Gate, picked up 4 golden seeds, and headed down towards the entrance to the sealed tunnel. It was here that I'd be getting the second Smithing Stone bell bearing, leaving us with 7 more to acquire. I also decided to kill the dungeon's boss as well for some extra runes, which, given Great Star's high poise damage, went like this. This guy's so easy to poise break. Bonk. The time had finally come to head back to Fort Vareth and take out the Mother of Dragons herself for a lovely Foulfoot boosted 100,000 plus runes. Pop a gold pickled Foulfoot to increase the runes we get. There we go. From there, I travelled to the Round Table Hold and had Hugh upgrade the Great Stars to plus 13 using the smithing stones I gathered during my travels. Right, 13 then. Okay. That's enough. And now, it was finally time to traverse across Caelid to the impassable Great Bridge Site of Grace, stopping along the way to get Cragblade Ash of War, before heading through the portal to Castle Redmane and beginning the long-awaited Radahn Festival. And it's Radahn time.
Champions, welcome. The stars have aligned. The festival
This dude,
is nigh.
this jester man.
Radahn, mightiest demigod of the shattering, awaits you. Champions, prepare for battle.
Look at him. Where's his face?
Defeat the general, claim glory, and grab that great rune. A celebration of war. The Radahn Festival.
Ready as I'll ever be. Here we go. Time had come to face off against the first major obstacle to enter into the DLC. The powerful and deadly hero of the Battle of Aeonia, Leonard, and his rider, General Radahn. I started this epic fight using the Wild Strike's Ash of War, which seemed to bring out immense greed in how I played, and ended up causing this to happen. Ow. Wow, that was just me being greedy. I deserved that. Ow. Okay, I rolled wrong there. Oh no, that's like 11 or 12, right? Oops. There we go, we'll say 12. I'm getting greedy here. I'm playing real bad. Okay, I'm gonna stop wild striking. I'm gonna change tactics. So, I decided to swap out wild strikes for Cragblade in the hopes that the higher poise damage would help stagger Radahn more. And even though I began with a couple of terrible attempts... Ow, okay. Well, this is going badly. Whoa. Why is my... Why? I finally decided to lock in. There we go, we got a fucking poise break. Where's he coming from? There he is with his fucking meteor strike. Ow. There we go. And it's done. It's fucking done. It's what I wanted to do from the start. Holy shit. That's it. With Leonard and Radahn defeated, Phase 1 was complete, and all that stood between me and the DLC was the Lord of Blood himself, Moog. And also all of these guys as well, but that's for Phase 2 Ghost Dragon to worry about.